Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook. My name is Laura Lesch, and I am really excited to be serving as your worship associate with our service leader for today, Claudia Jacobs Dunmeyer. We will also be delighted by our Director of Religious Education, Deborah Little, with her retelling of a well-known story, and moved by our incredible musicians, Peter Winkler and Maureen Shaiman. Our dedicated, determined, and delightful tech team is in place, who you may not see or hear, but believe me, if they weren't there, we couldn't be here. Happy Mother's Day, all you moms out there, and I thank you for spending a part of your day here with us. There is nothing normal about Mother's Day 2020, that's for sure, including virtual worship services. Yet, here we all are, gathered together and creating yet another silver lining to the current pandemic cloud which is upon us. Now, Claudia has been a beloved member of our fellowship since 1998. Many of you know her as one of the leaders of the Long Island folk, rock, jazz music scene. She has delighted us regularly with her gift of music with a message at our services, local venues, and community events. But you may not know about Claudia's other life, working as a childbirth educator and a doula, which she has been doing since 1994, and more recently as the trainer of the doula certification program at Stony Brook University's School of Nursing. She's also the creator of a childbirth educator certification program called Informed and Mindful Birthing. Today, she will share some of her experiences and the lessons she has learned from this calling of being with mothers and their families as they bring forth new life and assisting with the transitions into parenthood. A special welcome to any of you who are with us for the first time today. We are a welcoming congregation. Our services vary in content and style, and we hope you will return for several services and come to our sanctuary on Nichols Road in Stony Brook when we're able to safely reopen and be together for worship services again, so that you can get to know us as a community of faith. After the service, we will have a virtual coffee hour where you will all be able to see each other and chat, so just be patient while we connect you. Then there will be a break, so you can either join the children's worship circle or go have brunch. But please remember to come back at 11:45 for our important town hall fellowship meeting using the link in yesterday's news feed, or it's also on our UUFSB.org website. We will resume our small group conversations next week. This week's announcements are in the weekly newsfeed sent by email from our office to all friends and members every Thursday. And finally, I would like to share my own personal joy for this day. 40 years ago today, my oldest child, Christopher, was born, and I became a mother for the first time. As any of you who remember him growing up here will recall, it's been a wild ride. And I guess the same is true for all parents. He is now in Alaska working as a public defender, protecting the rights mostly of the indigenous people there. He is a true UU kid, and I am so proud of him. We must be apart today, but still we are bound together. For this and most of what has transpired in the last 40 years, I am eternally grateful. Happy birthday, dear Chris.
Please settle in now and allow your mind to focus and your heart to open as we begin our worship with the sounding of the morning bell.
If you have a chalice or a candle where you are, I hope you will light it with me now as Dave and I light ours here, and I read these words from Florence Kaptow. We kindle this flame, honoring the doorways in our souls, the windows through which we gaze at one another, the balconies where we catch glimpses of sky, the thresholds we stand on this morning, wondering, hoping, fearing, dreaming. We would like to try something new for our online format this morning and do a responsive reading for our opening words. This way we can all take part. We will use number 717 in our gray hymnal entitled New Life Comes to Us. Claudia will lead and read the words in bold type. I will respond along with each of you from where you are by reading the words printed in italics, which you will see on your screens. So let's try.
New life comes to us as a gift.
Each new life makes its demand, exacts our attentiveness, enlists and organizes our energies, and blesses us. May we be worthy of the gift and glad receivers of the blessing.
New life appeals to us.
Each new life is helpless and so calls forth our help, is weak and so calls forth our strength, is innocent and so calls forth our wisdom. May we be wise in our strength and ever strong in our help.
New life grows.
Each new life ventures first words, first steps, first essays in the art of living. Each grows, ever surpassing the life that was for the life that shall be. May we patiently wait and watch in wonder.
New life bears untold promise.
Each new life has a story to tell, and we shall listen. Each new life goes forth from us, laying the child's sovereign claim on whole realms of being we had called our own.
God of grace, may they be blessed, whatever the pathways they follow, whatever the life they claim as their own.
So this morning, I'm sharing a familiar tale. Once upon a time, a young girl named Dorothy lived with her Aunt Em and her Uncle Henry on a farm on the Kansas prairie. She had a little dog named Toto, who was her playmate and best friend. Now, Kansas is a very flat place, and there are lots of tornadoes. One day, a really bad tornado came, and Aunt Em and Uncle Henry ran down to the cellar. But Toto ran under the bed, and Dorothy went to get him. The whirling tornado picked up the house and took them straight out of Kansas. When they landed, they were in a magical land called Oz. Small people called Munchkins were cheering because the house had landed on the Wicked Witch of the East and freed the Munchkins from her spell. A good witch named Glinda was there. "Thank you for freeing the Munchkins," she said. As a gift, Glinda gave Dorothy a pair of sparkly silver slippers from the feet of the Wicked Witch. "But how can we get home?" Dorothy asked. "I can't help you," said Glinda, "but maybe the wonderful Wizard of Oz can. Follow the yellow brick road to the Emerald City and ask the Wizard of Oz for help." So off they went, Dorothy and Toto. And you know the story. Along the way, they gathered friends who also wanted to ask the wizard for help. The Scarecrow wanted a brain because he didn't think he was smart. And the Tin Man wanted a heart because he didn't think he was loving. And the Lion wanted courage so that he could be a real king of the forest. The yellow brick road was long and sometimes it was dangerous. One day, the travelers heard strange noises coming from deep within the thick woods. The Lion whispered to his comrades that it was in this part of the forest that the terrible Kalidas lived. The Kalidas are huge and monstrous beasts with bodies like bears and heads like tigers and with claws and fangs so long and sharp that they could tear the lion in two. "I'm terribly afraid of the Kalidas," said the lion. Suddenly, two Kalidas ran out of the forest. The lion let out a tremendous roar, and the Kalidas stopped in their tracks. The travelers ran down the road and they came to a chasm. "Cut down a tree and put it across so that we can go over," cried the Scarecrow. The Tin Man cut down the tree and they all ran across. Then the Tin Man cut the tree again and it fell into the chasm. The Kalidas could not follow them. But as they ran down the road, the Tin Man accidentally stepped on a beetle and crushed it. He began to weep because he had killed the insect. Thereafter, he walked very carefully with his eyes on the road, and when he saw a tiny ant toiling by, he would step over it so as not to harm it. When they arrived at the Emerald City, each one asked the wizard for help. But the wizard told each of them they had to kill the wicked witch of the West before he could help them. So off they went, and the wicked witch of the West sent wolves and crows and bees to stop them, but they kept going. Then the wicked witch sent the winged monkeys, who threw the Scarecrow and the Tin Man into the woods and took the Lion, Dorothy, and Toto to the witch. The wicked witch made Dorothy a slave and told her to work all day. But the witch wanted Dorothy's silver shoes, which she knew had potential magic. So she tried to make Dorothy trip and fall so she could grab one of the shoes. But Dorothy got mad and threw a bucket full of water on the witch, and the witch just melted away to nothing. Dorothy rescued the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man, and they returned to Oz. They demanded that the wizard grant their wishes, but they learned that there was no real wizard. Instead, a small old man who had come from Nebraska, which is next to Kansas, had been pretending to be the wizard. But here is what the wizard knows. The Scarecrow has a brain and he's very smart. He just needs someone to recognize that. So the wizard fills his head with bran and pins and needles, and his brain bulges so that he can show everyone that he is smart. The Tin Man is always kind and gentle and loving. He has a heart, but he doesn't see it in himself. So the wizard puts a tiny stuffed heart into his chest so that he can see it. The lion is already brave, so Oz tells him, "You have plenty of courage, I'm sure. All you need is confidence in yourself. There's no living thing that is not afraid when it faces danger. The true courage is in facing danger when you're afraid. And that kind of courage you have in plenty." And he gives him a potion to swallow so that he can feel his courage. As for Dorothy, well, she has to go see Glinda, the Good Witch, for help getting home. And Glinda says, "But Dorothy, you could have always gone home. You just need to click your heels 3 times." So Dorothy says goodbye to her friends and clicks her heels together. Suddenly, she's in Kansas. Aunt Em had just come out of the house when she looked up and saw Dorothy running toward her. "My darling child," she cried, folding the little girl in her arms and covering her face with kisses. "Where in the world did you come from?" "From the land of Oz," said Dorothy gravely. "And here is Toto. And oh, Aunt Em, I'm so glad to be at home again."
Thank you, Deb. And now let's all sing hymn number 338, "I Seek the Spirit of a Child." Peter will play it through once for those who aren't familiar with the tune, and then we'll sing it through.
For our meditation this morning, I invite you to focus on your mind-body connection, which is something I teach and encourage in my classes. It helps ground us in the present moment, reaffirms our inner strength, facilitates a peaceful mind, and allows us to move forward in a conscious and purposeful way. Then we will silently reflect on these words until Peter brings us from our silence with his music, and we can all sing hymn 1009, That's 1009 in our teal hymn book. Breathing meditation. There are 3 easy parts, and Peter will play each part through separately. So just pick one and sing it repeatedly until he stops. If you are with others where you are, try choosing different parts and enjoy the blend. So make yourself comfortable and gently close your eyes to allow your mind's eye to turn inwards. Take a deep, comfortable, cleansing breath, allowing your belly to rise with the inhale and your body to become a little heavier with each and every exhale. Let yourself sink where you are as you begin to surrender your tension and thoughts of the outside world. Release your mind and your body. Let go and trust in the calm, and allow distractions to be dismissed. Let in the awe and the wonder of nature and the present moment, the wonder of you and all that you do. You've got this. You are a capable, strong person. Allow your intentions to be free of worry and distrust. Trust in the design. Trust in yourself.
Oh, thank you, Peter, for that beautiful, beautiful hymn. At each service, we are invited into the spiritual practice of generosity as we take a collection which we share with an organization working for social justice in our community. This month, the recipient designated by our Social Action Committee is the Island Heart Food Pantry, located in Middle Island. Food insecurity has become exponentially increased as so many businesses have closed. At the same time, many local pantries have had to close due to food shortages from their usual donors and suppliers. Island Heart Food Pantry, however, has kept their doors open, and they are serving hundreds of families every week. We are proud to support them. So please consider making a donation if you can. You could go to our UUFSB.org website and click on the donate button to do it online, or use your bank bill pay service, or just write out and mail a check to the fellowship. Please always indicate in the memo line of your check or the explanation box of your bank's bill pay or the add a note space on PayPal how you wish your donation to be directed. That is a really important step for Susan in our office. And while you're at it, you can make your pledge payments or donation to the fellowship in exactly the same way. If you have more than one device, you can do it right now as using one and staying on with us and on the other and listening to Maureen sing one of my favorites, Forever Young. Or you can do it after coffee hour. Just please don't forget. Thank you.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb whatever you want. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay
Thank you, Maureen. Hello, I'm so glad to be with you this morning. As many of you know, and many of you can imagine, becoming a parent by any means is a transformative event. For me, it's been profound and rewarding, and the hardest and longest job I've ever held. For the parents I work with, I'm often part of their very first parenting experience, which gives me a unique opportunity to help them begin that on a positive note. If I can help make that easier in any way, I have done my job, and ultimately, I like to believe, contributed to the world at large. For those of you unfamiliar with what a doula is and what we do, a doula is a childbirth professional who helps women and families during labor and birth, and for a time after the baby enters their lives. Basically, a doula's role is to help both physically and mentally, wherever and however she is needed. She helps to create an environment, a container, as we call it, in which a new parent and family can find support, comfort, information, and a safe place to discover and build a confidence in themselves. One of the most important attributes to mine for this sometimes challenging journey in labor and also parenthood. When people hear that I am a birth worker, their initial response is often a resounding and enthusiastic expression of how lucky I am to be able to see a baby be born. Being present at a birth is a great honor and an experience that I hold dear. But my work and passion as a doula ends up being largely focused on helping the laboring person and partner navigate through the whole experience from beginning to end. Don't get me wrong, the joy and wonder of watching those small human beings emerge from a larger human beings never, ever gets old. Every single birth sparks a moment of awe in me at the basic fact that this incredible, some might say miraculous event takes place thousands and thousands of times around the world every single day. But the reality is, the baby rarely needs more help beyond holding, feeding, and changing it. Nature has designed it so beautifully to be created and be born just as we were designed to give birth. During pregnancy, the baby grows pretty much unassisted. For labor, the baby is actually known to signal the mother when all systems are go and it's ready to be born. And installed birth reflexes helps it out of a tight spot. Then, once out, a newborn can, if uninterrupted by drugs and labor or time constraints, actually find its way to the mother's breast and self-attach for feeding. So for the most part, a baby is basically born on autopilot. The older humans involved, however, although pretty incredible too, may need more help accessing their instincts that will ultimately be of great service to them. Sometimes we get programmed over the years to assume that something is broke or is going to go wrong before we've even given it a chance to go right. When I teach parents-to-be and doula trainees, one of my major goals is to instill positive expectations of birth. To introduce the idea of negative thinking, I share a poignant quote about not wanting a pilot flying your plane that she thinks she's going to crash. And then talk about the effects on labor and life of assuming the worst before there's any sign of a problem. So in order to help them navigate through the fear, I teach them about utilizing a version of the scientific method to help them stay calm and carry on before letting fear take the wheel. After all, as we know, knowledge is power. If they observe what they are feeling, then hypothesize what might be happening, and then experiment by initiating a change to see if that helps, then in most cases, it will reveal to them that everything is, in fact, fine. For instance, if I can do or say anything that helps people stay in the amazement, elation, and pride of accomplishment that I witness immediately after a woman gives birth, that is a gift very much worth giving. Boosting self-confidence is a key to self-reliance and being able to recognize and trust our inner voice. These new parents are about to experience tremendous sensations and change. If I can acquaint them with their strengths and the tools in what I call their onboard toolkits, which are the attributes, skills, common sense, and helping hands they already possess, then they will be more equipped to experience it all on their own terms and diminish any interference from outside resources or their own negative thoughts that they might experience. So you see, it is everything I do leading up to the birth and after the birth that I find my skills most useful, most far-reaching, and therefore, for me, most fulfilling. It reminds me of the old proverb, you know, the one about give a person a fish and you feed them for a day, teach a person to fish and you feed them for a lifetime. Facilitating parents to trust in their inner resources as opposed to relying solely on outside resources that are often contradicting anyway, or may not feel natural or right to them, has implications far beyond parenting a newborn. Bolstering that reliance in themselves will be a strength and a skill that they can return to over and over again. Lost my place. As the child needs grow and change. With birth, hope is born. Hope for the new child, but also a hope of renewal, of perhaps a rebirth for ourselves, to be the best parents and therefore the best people that we hope to be. It is the beginning of an identity shift that will be ongoing. For instance, the person you are after the first year of motherhood is not the same person you were or will be after year 3 or year 10, or maybe even, hate to tell you, year 40. Maybe that's a good thing. And we are different mothers for each child if we have more than one, because the alchemy of the experience changes with each new added dimension and personality added to the mix. And it's important to note that being the best mother we can be does not mean losing ourselves in their needs. We must continue on our own free and responsible search for truth and meaning while allowing space and facilitating our children to do so as well. And hopefully, along the way, we might find greater understanding of and patience with our own mothers when we consider the challenges they may have faced. Birth is a quintessential transformative moment for the newborn, for parents, the family, and ultimately the community and the world. It is a new ripple entering our interconnected web of all existence. Being a part of those personal transformations and helping it to unfold in a positive direction has been a privilege and a great source of meaning in my life. It has also fostered a greater understanding and a stronger connection for me to several of the UU principles upon reflection. Compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and a free and never-ending search for truth. I will forever be grateful to the people who invited me into their homes and birthing rooms to be a part of the most personal of experiences and intimate moments of a lifetime. And thank you, Laura, for encouraging me to reflect upon it. Please join me now in singing the beautiful hymn, number 409, Sleep, My Child. Thank you, Peter. That was beautiful. For my closing words, I offer these three quotations. The first, I've adopted from the words of Barbara Katz Rothman, a well-known author and childbirth educator. She says, birth is not only about making babies. Birth is about making parents, strong, competent, capable parents who trust themselves and know their inner strength. The second is from Marie Curie, who says, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so we may fear less. And the last is from the Good Witch Glinda, who reminds us that you have always had the power to go home. You just need to close your eyes, click your heels together 3 times and repeat to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There is no place like home. We now sound our closing bell.
And we now extinguish our chalice until we come together in worship once again.
And for my parting blessing, I offer you a musical prayer for hope. I am a hopeful person. I believe in change. I'm Gonna keep on trying for change.